Today we are going to learn how to find many books and articles on the Big Sandy Community and Technical College Library website. So here's our website today, Big Sandy Community and Technical College. And the first thing we're going to do is go to Academics. And on the side here, you'll see there's a link for the library. There we go. And we have a really nice list of everything that the library offers: quiet study areas, group study areas. Here's where we are on campus, articles and books. But the links to these things are up on the side. So we're going to start with find a book. There's a couple ways that we can do this. The first way we're going to look at is the Kentucky Community and Technical College Library Catalog. So you can connect to this anywhere with an internet connection, which is awesome. So you don't have to be on campus. We're going to do a basic book search. And as you can see, we have many ways we can search. If we search by keyword, that's going to search the title, the author, the subject, anything in the work that we're looking for. We have author, title, journal title, if you're looking for a specific one that you know, subject, and call number. That's if you know exactly where the book is. We're going to start with author. And another option you have here is check holdings in a particular library. Right now we're looking at all of the branches of Kentucky Community and Technical College, so let's look just at Big Sandy, Pikeville. So that's all we're changing here. Now there's a couple different ways that you can search for an author and put their name in. When you go to Google a person, let's say, searching a person, maybe a celebrity, author, whatever, what do you usually do? Just kind of type in their name, right? Sometimes with quotes if it's a long name, so that they search everything together. Let's try doing a very formal author search for Charles Dickens, like this. Last name, comma, first name. I'm doing that because when these items are cataloged, this is often how the author's name is written in the system. There we go. So we got our results, which is good. This first book here says it's available, and it's in the book stack, so that's a print book that we're looking for. Here we have the call number. If you want to see that a little more clearly, you can always click on the link. Here's the call number again. Here's all the information about the book. It's not checked out. There's one copy, and it is available in the stacks. So let's go back and look at another one. Here's A Tale of Two Cities. Let's say we had to read that for class. There's a term right next to it that says electronic resource. That means we have it as an ebook. So let's click on that. That's going to take us to a definitely different thing down here. There we go. Under holdings information, you do have the call number, but we don't actually have it in the stacks, so I would not recommend going to look for it. You'll see right here, linked resources. Click here to read this electronic book from that library. This is going to take us to EBSCOhost, which is a database that has these ebooks. If you notice on the side, it says ebook full text. You can click on that, start reading the book. Download this ebook so then you can read it offline if possible. You have both of those options. So if you see that electronic resource, that's what we're talking about here. So that's how to find books at Big Sandy. Another thing we can do is use the Kentucky Virtual Library. This is a shared resource for all Kentucky libraries. If you can see here, quick links, you can log in from home, how to use Kentucky Virtual Library, promote Kentucky Virtual Library, all that good stuff. So what we need to do there's how to use KYVL and find a database. You can also just search. You can also do the same sort of thing. But what I need to do, because I'm off campus, is I need to log in from home. So you'll need a password for this and a username. Since I'm off campus, I also have to do that. Central Library. Log in from home. So this you can do at home. You have to go to the bottom here, put in your username and your password. Log in. There we go. And then it says resources for everyone. So what we're going to look at today is Academic Search Complete. On Academic Search Complete, you can search for a number of scholarly resources and articles written by a lot of academic journals that can be really helpful to your research. So let's start with just using a couple fields here. Let's stick with Charles Dickens, why not? Here, I'm going to use my Google type search terms, Charles Dickens in quotes. We can select a field, and this we are looking for articles about Charles Dickens. So instead of having him as an author, let's have him as a subject. And let's say we're looking for criticism about Charles Dickens. So there we go. Now there's a lot of search options down here, and I'm just going to give you a couple today. So we're searching as a Boolean phrase search, which is the term and or term or another term. So we're going to keep that. Let's link it to full text. Sometimes when we look for articles, the text is only going to be the abstract or the summary of what the article is about. We want to make sure that we have full text. So we got that. We have Boolean phrase search, full text, let's search. No results found. There you go. So instead, let's switch this to all fields and see if we get anything else. There we go. So sometimes you have to try that. Okay, so we have 189 articles. So let's look at this first one, Charles Dickens, social worker in his time. If you see down here, it says full text. You can click on the PDF to download a PDF, or you can click on the HTML and read it right here. But let's take a look at the information about this article by clicking here. Now there's a couple interesting things on this page that I want to show you down here. Okay. So this gives us the author and the source, the article, the journal that the article's in. Also has the subject terms. If we want more literature criticism, and we want to define things specifically for that, we can also click on this and search for literature, history, and criticism. And then we can look for more Dickens things. So one thing, how do we know if a source is credible? Is it a good source to use? So just because it came from this database, it must be good? It probably is, but there are some ways to check. And one of the ways that we can use for this, and we can also use for websites, is the CRAP test, which, I mean, that has to be easy to remember, right? So the CRAP test, I have this very handy little sheet that I will email to you to use. It's very handy and easy to remember. So is the article current? You know, if you're doing a research project on, you know, stem cell research or something like that, you don't really want an article from 10 years ago because there's been a lot of research since then on that. So it definitely depends on the topic, but something you have to think about. Reliability and relevance. Who published this information? Is it a journal that's peer-reviewed? Has it been reviewed by other people in the field, other professionals? Is it biased? You know, if you're doing a persuasive essay or an essay on a controversial topic that's just supposed to be informational, and you have a bunch of articles that have the same point of view, that might not be the best foundation for your research or writing on that. Does the information apply to your topic? That's always important. Authority. Who authored this information? Was it one person? Was it a group? Was it a government organization? Are their credentials provided? Where do they teach? Are they a researcher at a hospital? Are they a lawyer that also teaches at a law school? Those kind of things. And then purpose and point of view. Who is the intended audience? If it's something, the intended audience is other professionals in that field, and something medical, that might be a little difficult for you or me or anyone who's not a medical professional to understand. The terminology sometimes, you might have to really struggle with that. I know I would have to if it was a bunch of medical terms. On the other side, if you find something on a website and it kind of sounds like maybe it was written for someone writing a school project or something in high school, you might want to find something that has a little bit more depth and information so that you can write an informed paper on it. So those are all things we need to remember. And here, most of the time, the point of view and the relevance is going to be obvious. Most of the time, these are scholarly articles that are written by people in the field. A couple things that we can check are the source to make sure it is peer-reviewed. That's always good to know in an article if the journal is peer-reviewed. Sometimes your professors will even ask you for that. So let's click on social work here. That's the article. And we've got all kinds of stuff for it. Yes, the full text is available. What is it about? What do they publish here? Down here, is it peer-reviewed? Yes. So that's great. Good to know. This article has been peer-reviewed. And you can just do that by clicking on social work. Another thing we can do is go down to the abstract here. A lot of times when I am looking for an article and I want to know if it's relevant, I read the abstract because it's going to give you a little introduction as to what is going on in this article. And if you read that and it doesn't say anything about where you want to take your paper or where you think you want to take your paper, or read what you want to figure out about a subject, then maybe don't read the whole thing, because some of these are 15 pages, 20 pages. If it's not going to help you out, that's a lot of wasted time. So here we have this article draws on Dickens' biography and writing to highlight select lessons of relevance to social work. That's a really interesting take on Charles Dickens and criticism about his work. So depending on what you're writing about, this could be a really relevant article. So those are a couple of things I like to look at when looking at articles. So let's look at another one. How about that? The Juvenilia of Charles Dickens, Romance and Reality. Here's our full text, but let's look at it and check. All right, yeah, if you guys have computers, can you check for me? Where are we gonna go? Let's check Dickens Quarterly, sure. Go down here, Academic Journal, peer reviewed, good stuff. Another thing here, we were talking about who's the author, who's the author's credibility. Does he or she teach, at a university or everything? So we have Christina Alexander here. If we go down here, sometimes we'll have author affiliations. We have University of New South Wales, university professor. Pretty cool. Okay. So once again, the resources for everyone page is going to have that. It's going to have all these databases. We'll talk a little bit more about using some of the other ones, including Novelist and EBSCOhost and the Grolier Online Passport. Those are all really great resources to use. If you're on campus, you won't necessarily have to use your login. If you're at home, you're going to have that username and password in order to access this stuff. It's not like the library catalog. So let's practice one more crap test. And let's just practice it on Google. Make sure I'm signed on here. Okay. So let's do the same search. Charles Dickens and criticism. If I could spell criticism right, that would be good. There we go. Okay, let's search for that. Okay, so we have almost 2 million results. A little bit more than what we have, 189, something like that. Right. So we have a lot of different sites here. We have .edu sites, we have .org sites, we have .com sites. We need to make sure that these are reliable. So here's one that's an overview from the City University of New York. It's got a general overview of Charles Dickens and some of his websites. Now notice this is dated. It's a little older, so we don't know the last time that it's been updated. Always something to look at. Also, who is this by? Is this, what professor is this by? You know, novel page, we've got other authors here. Let's look at the syllabus. Okay, so it looks like this is from a class. Still not seeing, there we go. So now I know who the author is. She's in the Department of English, and she teaches a number of courses. So using this information as background information and research would probably be reliable and credible. Now if we had a blog, that might not be something we want to use. Or here's something here. This is The Mystery of Charles Dickens. This is a book, this is a review of a book about Charles Dickens. So even though we typed in Charles Dickens and criticism, we're still getting a lot of things. So really be careful. Not everything on the first page of your Google search is going to be the most relevant. Also watch out, New York Times, New York Review of Books. Those are great sites to use, but they might not always have their place in a research paper. Always see how many advertisements are on sites. How credible does that make them? Does it make them biased? Because they are, you know, they are for profit, paying for something. Let's see if we can get this to refresh. For some reason it's kind of, there we go. So let's say we had a blog come up here on our first page. And let's get our crap test up here again. There we go. Let's say it was a blog from 2010 about one English student's quest to read 4 Charles Dickens books in one summer. And he documented, you know, how he felt each day reading, how much he got done, what was going on in his life, and that came up in one of your results that you clicked on. Do you think that is a good source to use? Is it a credible source? No? Why not? Okay, it's not incredibly current, right? Yes, although Charles Dickens' works are obviously pre-10 years ago anyway, but you're right, it hasn't been updated, so there might be better information. Is it relevant to you? Is it really relevant? We're looking for criticism, and he's just writing about his experience, not necessarily about Dickens' writing every time, right? Authority. What authority does this author have? He's an English student, and that's great, he's studying English, but you're also a student, so he's technically your peer. Do we want to use that in a research paper? Probably not. Purpose, point of view. Is this biased? Could be, yeah. It's a lot of his personal opinion. Right, so in each one we have something that might not make this the most reliable thing to use for class or for a paper. So one thing that I would love for you to do, and I'm going to come around and take a look, search for something that you need to research in class right now, or something you're talking about in class, even if it's just the subject you talked about in biology this week or something like that. And pick a website. If it's a .com website, awesome. If it's not, maybe a .org. Government website is fine too, and we'll determine together when I come around. Give me a couple reasons why that is or is not credible. And then I'll email you this crap test, and then we'll get going on some more articles and citations next time we meet. Thanks, have a great one.